Well, let's admit most of us came to hear Jaime Rivera. I know, my mother does the exact same thing. But that's just me. Yeah, we know Jaime. Fine, whatever. Man, Jaime was really covering all these OnePlus 8 leaks, and he's had the phone for weeks. Jaime tries to use 5G to cook a chicken, Diego applauds. That's technically not an inaccurate thing. I mean, 5G, microwave, it's actually almost the same thing. That's right, it's that time of the week. I am Jaime Rivera, this is Pocketnow, and this is the Pocketnow Daily Recap, your comments for this week. So on Monday, the topic was all the leaks of Apple changing the design of the next generation iPhone. I asked you, are you in favor of this? You remember this iPhone 5, iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, believe it or not, I have these phones. This is actually my favorite design from many years ago, but I felt that it wasn't necessarily a good idea if Apple would do it, given the fact that, you know, it follows on iPad's design that use aluminum, and that did not age well, those bends. So I asked you, do you think it's a good idea? We had 446 comments. That old iPhone 4 design made it unique and more premium in my humble opinion. Totally, dude. For me, this stainless steel band was the coolest thing ever back in the day, and I feel that Apple was ahead of its time when it came to design with this phone in particular, and then obviously they followed with the 4S. I do agree, if they bring these materials, then sure, why not? Iconic design of the iPhone 4/5. Yeah, want it with no ifs. You know, it's interesting. I like the iPhone 5, but I feel that it did not age well because of the aluminum finish. If you remember the black version of the iPhone 5, and I know you'd have to be a little old for that, this thing would get horribly scratched and the chamfers looked terrible. So that's one of the reasons why I feel that if they do stainless steel, it's a good idea. If they do aluminum, it's not. The same design of the iPad, not the structure, Jaime. It's an iPhone. As if you know what's gonna happen. We only see leaks, but we don't know materials. And everything points to this looking like aluminum. And so that's one of the major reasons why we're like, yeah, it's not necessarily a good idea. Try to remember the iPhone 6 and how that thing would bend. iPhones will use stainless steel frames, so it will not break like iPads. Definitely, if iPhones remain stainless steel, I feel that that would be the best idea. And yeah, I can't, like, if anybody's got a 30-pin connector that I could borrow, I'd love that because these phones actually still work. Then on Tuesday, the topic was OnePlus 8, OnePlus 8 Pro. We had a comparison where we discussed which one was a better buy of either one, as, well, we decided to hold on to the review because the day after we actually received the software update on the 8 Pro for a couple of reasons that we'll discuss in a future video. I asked you which one would you pick, and we had 481 comments. Don't go cheap. Me, proceed to unbox my sexy OnePlus 7 Pro. You know, it's funny, the OnePlus 7 Pro was actually my least favorite. OnePlus 7T, that's where it was at, and if you haven't watched our After the Buzz about that, we'll link that in the description. Yeah, the general consensus is that the normal OnePlus 8 compromises too much in many areas, big and small. If you're getting a OnePlus 8, then aim for the Pro version. You know, when I did the unboxing, I was like, oh my god, I want this OnePlus 8, I love this color, it's small enough, it's powerful enough, this is gonna be my phone. And then I went out and took photos, and I was like, whoa. I brought up the OnePlus 7T, did some comparison shots. I was like, whoa again, all right, where's the OnePlus 8 Pro? Sadly, I don't know if it's that they need more software updates, more software tuning on those cameras or what, but right now, OnePlus 8 Pro, that's where it's at if you're looking for this phone. Funny how so many people knocked OnePlus for no official IP rating and no wireless charging. Now that it's a standard, they about the obvious price hike. What did you all think, that these were going to be free of charge? You know, and even OnePlus mentioned it in their keynotes. If you want to pay that extra $30 for the IP rating per phone, obviously depending on how much volume is sold, which is not going to be the case right now with what we're going through with COVID-19, in addition to, yeah, wireless charging and the way the company wanted to do it with that ultra-fast wireless charging option, I get that, definitely. If you want to get all these features, you totally have to get the Pro. And honestly, like, a lot of these have been very well implemented. It's obvious OnePlus has settled to the premium price range. You know, this is a very interesting discussion. Is it okay for OnePlus to do this crazy price hike with the OnePlus 8 Pro, which is $200-something price difference versus the previous generation? I do feel that it was a dramatic price hike, just probably too much for what you're getting in comparison to everything else. Now, I do feel that I need to do some more testing on this phone to tell you, is it worth $899 or not versus devices like the Galaxy S20, for example, or even the Google Pixels that are already in the market. It's going to be a hard assessment. I'll tell you this much, I do feel that it would have been a better idea for OnePlus to do a really good job with that OnePlus 8, and therefore, the option to go Pro wouldn't have been a price challenge. You would have just gotten the OnePlus 8 and you would have been fine. Whereas now, sadly, the discussion is only on the Pro right now. Then on Wednesday, the topic was Apple's surprise announcement of the iPhone SE, which is pretty much an iPhone 8, out of which I actually don't have any of those units here in Honduras. Obviously I asked you what you thought about the phone. Did you like everything that you were getting here? We had 1,237 comments. Thanks a lot, guys. OnePlus finally becomes a flagship Apple. Time to become the flagship killer. Oh my god, that is such a great assessment. Right now, I feel that Apple has finally tuned down to the reality of the market. You see it with the drop in price of the MacBook Air. You see it with the drop in price of the iPhone 11 versus everything that was out there. And that cherry topper was that iPhone SE, where it's like, all right, we're going to cater to all markets in a very smart way. We're going to use an old design, meaning we don't have to pay for all that manufacturing and everything and changing all these, whatever manufacturing processes they have. And we're actually going to get rid of some chips that we haven't been able to sell because of the drop in COVID-19 situation, all the sales that they're not making. So the smartest way to get rid of that inventory is to bring the iPhone SE with such powerful hardware. The iPhone SE is turning into an essential tool, like a clock. I'm going to get one mainly because of iOS and these updates which last for 5 years. I think that that's the beautiful part about the iPhone SE. This is actually the original iPhone 5. I never got the iPhone SE, by the way, but I feel that that was such a beautiful promise. You don't pay so much for the phone, you get decent enough storage with great specs, and then you can get as many software updates as you want. I know a ton of people that wanted the home button to come back, and Apple solved that problem with the SE. So I think that it's a really good value proposition. Water resistance wireless charging, best main camera, one of the most powerful chips for gaming and processing, compact, all for $399. And for a lot of people, you only think of the processor for processing. Think about it as the image signal processor of every smartphone, or I believe every single one, comes from the chip. Therefore, if you've got the same A13 Bionic, all that smart HDR that you got with the iPhone 11, you pretty much will get with the single shooter. So yes, it's not just about the price and the size and all the specs. It's about the fact that this iPhone SE is actually going to have a killer camera. I cannot wait to compare that phone against the Pixel 3a. iPhone SE 2 is like Suzuki with a Lamborghini engine. I think that's the best analogy, and guys, it's been done, and I feel that this is what Apple needed to do. Again, it's a realistic move for where the market is going right now. Then on Thursday, the embargo lifted for the Moto G stylus and the Moto G Power, the new devices that were obviously announced earlier. Joshua Vergara had the chance to be able to review them. Sadly, I'm here. He gets all the fun. He asked you in his video, what did you think or which one would you pick? We had 433 comments. I'm curious to see how these will stack up against the Pixel 4a when that gets released. Guys, all of us are waiting for that Pixel 4a. That phone better kill it, because yeah, it needs to be a statement now more than ever. The G7 Power phone has a headphone jack, big battery, and always on display. The OnePlus 8 series doesn't have those. Yeah, totally. Storage over battery, a hard choice, but I need storage. They should just combine these phones into one for $299. Seriously, this is like the old times of Blackberries where one phone would get Wi-Fi and then the other one would get Bluetooth, and it was just a nightmare to pick one. And then they launched the BlackBerry Bold, which had everything. That's what Moto needs to do. And then finally, Friday, the topic was the iPhone 12, the new leaks, the LiDAR, the design, the fact that it brings 120 Hertz most probably to an OLED and everything. I asked you, what are you thinking about this phone so far as the leaks progress? We had 463 comments. Please mention that live wallpaper. I love it. Please respond. It's funny, this is one of those videos where I asked for one thing and then most of the questions that we got were actually completely off topic, and this was one of them. First of all, I got that image from Reddit on the Galaxy Note 10 Plus wallpaper subreddit. We tried to find it again, we can't, and sadly it's on a Galaxy Note 10 Plus that I don't have with me right now. So it's not like if I can upload the image to you guys and for you guys to be able to download it, but if we find it, we'll definitely look for ways to share it. The iPhone design is delicious. The best design was the iPhone 4, and if they decide to bring that back, I'm in. You know, it's interesting. When the original iPhone 4 launched, and actually my back on this phone is broken and obviously I can't replace it anymore, I felt that way, and it's funny, I carried this phone as a brick because it was locked back then. I could not unlock the phone. I carried it pretty much as an iPod Touch, making rounds with my iPhone 3GS at the time. I love this phone so much, even with the issues that it had with antenna gate and everything. It was such a beautiful design, so I feel that even if Apple would do a complete retro and come up with this exact design on a larger form factor, I think it would be a major hit. Let's see if it happens. iPhone 12 looks great already, similar to the iPhone 5 design that was loved by most of us. And Apple is definitely on the right direction when it comes to its reasonable pricing. Definitely, I feel that this was the right move. Think about it, the last time that we had a situation like this one where, you know, there was a huge pandemic, or for example, when we had a huge recession like the one that's probably going to happen right now, it was back in the day, in 2008, when there was pretty much just one iPhone at the time. So you know, this is completely unprecedented, and right now what people need is affordable products, and I feel that this is the right move right now. Miss the flat edges of the old iPhones, 5S, etc. I do too, just hopefully they don't bring back these crazy chamfers. And yeah, sure, why not bring a headphone jack back, Apple? You did it back then. That's it for the Pocketnow Daily Recap. Thank you so much for watching. If you want your comments to be featured, keep them short, stick to the point, and try to get some thumbs up. It helps us spot them a lot easier. And also follow us on social medias. Our extended coverage happens on Instagram, and follow me on my personal handles to see me stay at home, which is what you should be doing too until this ends. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.